Asha sat shivering in the front passenger seat of the van. It was snowing again, the flakes barely visible in the low morning light. In the parking lot, Asha could see other vehicles' lights shining through the dimness. She didn't see anyone in those vehicles. They probably had remote starters, their owners comfortably waiting in their apartments. The driver's side door swung open, letting in a cold gust of winter air that flipped her hair into her face. Her father slid into the driver's seat and slammed the door after him.
"Phew,"
he exclaimed.
"That'll wake you up."
He was a tall man, about 6 feet, so he had to squeeze into the seat. This morning, his short, brown hair was covered with a bright red toque. Beneath his winter jacket, he wore his light gray uniform. After stowing the snow brush in his hand, he fastened his seatbelt and turned to her.
"Ready?"
he asked. No, she was not ready. She was not ready for any of this. A pit of uneasiness had grown within her. Asha merely shrugged. With a nod, he put the van in reverse, pulled out of their parking spot, and left the parking lot, driving through the alleyway that joined the apartment complex with the main street beyond. He stopped at the intersection, waiting for a gap in the traffic. Vehicle after vehicle zipped by. Trucks, vans, most of them small cars. How many were there? Hundreds? Thousands? Asha couldn't even guess. The van lurched as her father hit the accelerator and swung into traffic. This area of the city was called the South Crescent, named for how close it was to one of the many ring roads that circled the city. Everywhere Asha looked, lights shone, breaking through the gloom of the early morning. Streetlights lit up the roads below. Store signs blinked and flickered. Houses leaked light through their windows. It was no wonder Ascension's cross was called the City of Lights. Asha had never seen anything like it. The first and only time she had been in the city, it had been summer and daytime. She hadn't even considered what it would look like in the dark. When they had moved into the apartment, it had been early evening, and she had spent the last few days unpacking boxes. A flicker of silver flashed outside her window. Through a row of trees, she caught a glimpse of a long tube, disappearing and reappearing in the gaps. For an instant, it disappeared completely. Then it shot above the treetops. It was a metal, pill-shaped pod with dark glass windows, twice the size of the van. The track it ran on wasn't supported by anything. It simply stretched on and on, rising higher and higher, so that it was soon elevated above all the houses and stores.
"I think that might be the LR2,
her father said. She knew about the city's light rail system, which she would be riding most days. It was a web of tracks which carried people to anywhere they wanted to go throughout the city for free. She had only ever seen it on television, and never this close. Up ahead, riding on a section of track that crossed high above the road, appeared a train of 9 other pods, each connected front to back. She imagined if it were sunny outside, they would glint brightly, but now they were dull, their tinted windows giving them a somber look. The pod on her side followed a track that curved sharply to meet the track the larger train was on. The single pod was going way too fast. It was going to hit the junction just when the train did. Asha sucked in a startled breath. They were going to collide. At that moment, though, the 4 pods at the back of the train slowed. Not much, but just enough for the lone pod to merge in ahead of them. The front 5 pods reconnected with those at the back. A moment later, they were out of sight, disappearing into the early morning gloom. "Did you see that?" Asha asked, astonished.
"Pretty slick, eh?"
She could only nod.